Hey y'all, Bridget Bartlett here. So today I am going to show you how to set up a new business on HighLevel. Okay. So if you have missed yesterday's training, you want to definitely go back and check that out. I gave you an overview of what we are going to be discussing in this new series where we are literally creating a business from scratch. Okay. So I'm actually creating this business, I'm getting it all set up, and I'm actually going to launch it and walk through this whole process with you guys so that you can see the process and start implementing these strategies into your own business. Okay. So you'll see here everything that we're going to discuss today is actually in our knowledge base. You can go to myvisionagency.com/help. And if you search for start, you'll find this article here, Start and Build Your Business on HighLevel. Now, when you click there, you'll see if you go down, yesterday's training is embedded in there. Right now, it's the YouTube version of the training, but it's actually today's live training. So I don't have the recording yet because we're live. So that is going to replace that. I love to put my videos that are self-hosted inside the knowledge base. That way you don't have to deal with all the ads and all of those things. Okay. So definitely go back and check that out. Today's recording will be there. And I'm going to talk a little bit about domains. I'm going to go over that with you today. And then I'm also going to show you a checklist. So all of these things will be here in this article. And as we move on in this training, you will be able to access the additional videos there as well. So this link is in the description if you're watching in our Facebook group or YouTube. We are streaming live all over the place. But no matter where you're watching, just go to myvisionagency.com/help, search start in the box, and you'll find this article here. Okay. Now, this is the checklist that I've created, and I'm not saying that this checklist will not change. However, it's important to start thinking about these processes that you need to implement in your business and keeping track of all of those things. So, if you think, oh, I really need to create a pipeline, go ahead and add that in the list. And then as you start going through, you can move them around in order of priority. You can check them once they're done. And then now you have a really good SOP for not only your own business that you're creating, but also if you decide to duplicate this business, which of course we're going to do that. I'm going to provide the snapshot that we're creating and all of that for all of my members. So if you're not a member yet, definitely go to myvisionagency.com to join. But you're going to go through this process to, I always say, like, when you're doing it for yourself, think of duplication in the process so that you don't have to redo a lot of the things that you are building. Okay. So this is good for you to implement this type of a checklist or SOP in your own business, but also it's going to help you moving forward. Okay. So the very first thing that we need to do is we need to buy a domain. Okay. Now, I highly recommend Cloudflare. It's the easiest by far for many reasons. It's free, the domains are cheaper, it's really secure, it's really powerful, it's definitely easy integrations with almost everything. Cloudflare is the best. Most people will tell you that. So, I wanted to explain to you, let me get rid of this here. I wanted to explain to you the way that domains work. Okay. So I'm just going to run through this real quick. So if you're brand new to HighLevel or you have not set this up yet, you kind of have a good idea of what to expect here. Okay. So we have our agency admin account. That is when you create HighLevel, you have your agency admin account. There are no tools in the admin account. It's like the SaaS configurator, the affiliate program, your HighLevel courses, things like that that's provided by HighLevel. It's where you're going to manage all of the sub accounts within your HighLevel account. And the domains that are going to be connected inside of the agency account is going to be your app domain, which is like, I mean, anything could be the subdomain part, but you could call it anything that you want to, but you need to purchase one domain for your business. And you can see here, if my domain was mycrm.com, you can see why we need the congruency of this domain because we need an agency admin account and we also need an agency sub account because you have to designate one sub account as the account for your business, for your agency. Okay. So every HighLevel agency owner has an admin account and then they have a sub account which houses all the tools. Okay. If you look over on the left hand side and you see sites, you're in a sub account. If you don't, then you're in the agency account. Okay, it's real easy. Any tools on the left-hand side, you're in a sub account because they don't exist in the agency account. Okay, so that's a real easy way for you to be able to tell that. But I wanted to show you the hierarchy here, or how we're going to use this domain, so that when you're choosing your domain, you can choose it correctly, having all this information. Okay, so we're choosing this domain in this example, mycrm.com. Now, obviously, mycrm.com needs to be my website. So it's going to be the website that I am promoting my agency and all of my services on. Now, within that sub account, I am going to probably have a membership area. And so what I want to do is I want to stay with my domain, and I just want to create a subdomain like members.mycrm.com. I'm remaining congruent with my brand. Okay. Now, if I decide that I want to run Facebook ads or something like that, typically what we will do is create a sales funnel to promote one specific feature or offer, and we'll connect that to a subdomain. So that's going to be leads.mycrm.com. So keep in mind, we're only using one domain. We're just creating subdomains off of that domain. Okay. So subdomains in most places, they're unlimited for free. So it is cost effective as well as brand effective for you to use that same domain. Okay. There's also process reasons why you need to do that. And that's why the email address and the email sending domain, this is so important. This is why I really want to make sure that I'm explaining this so that you understand. I get questions about this probably more frequently than any other subject about HighLevel. Okay. And it is kind of confusing, and you do really need to understand how it works so that you can set it up correctly. So you'll see here that once we have purchased our domain, mycrm.com, and we've purchased it from Cloudflare, we also need an email address. Okay. Now, you can create like a redirect email address on Cloudflare, but that's not going to give you the best result. You really want to set it up in another place like Google Workspace. And I'm actually we're going to buy a domain today, and we're going to get it set up in Google Workspace. We're going to connect it to our Gmail account, and then we're going to set all of these things up inside of HighLevel today. Okay. But I want you to understand why we're doing that. Okay. So we purchase our domain, mycrm.com. We are going to connect app.mycrm.com and link.mycrm and the agency. We've created one email address that needs to be the same on the same domain that we have purchased for our business. Okay. So it needs to be info at or whatever you want it to be. And then we need an email sending domain. An email sending domain is not an email address. Okay. I just want to drive that home. If you could all just type in not an email address in the chat to let me know that you understand. An email sending domain is not an email address. Okay. So that's why you want to create the email address here. And then what we're going to do is we're actually going to create an email sending domain, which is the domain that we're sending emails from. Okay. So the reason that this is important, and the reason that you want this to be, thank you, Charles. The reason that we want this to be different is because let's say that you set this up on your agency, and then, all of your members start spamming everything, and they have not connected their own email sending domain. Now your domain is marked as it's blacklisted, right? It's being marked as spam. And so now all of your links, all of the communications coming from your agency, it's connected to this domain. And so now you have to purchase a new domain. Okay. If you were using your main root domain, if I was just using mycrm.com, I would be blacklisting my domain, and then now my email address and everything is going to be blacklisted. So what I want to do is protect that, and I'm going to protect it by creating a subdomain from that domain. So what this allows me to do is protect my root domain from any, blacklists and things like that. But it's also telling the system, hey, this is a secure domain that I'm sending from because it's connected to the same domain that my email address is from. Okay. So it tells the system, like when you are sending to Gmail, for example, it's like talking to Gmail, and it's saying, hey, Gmail, this is a cool non-spammy email because it is coming from the same place that it's being sent from. Right. So it's confusing, big, bunch of techie stuff. But regardless of all of that, the important thing that you need to know is that we always want to use a subdomain when we are creating our email sending domain. Okay. Now, when we go to the agency sub account, we're using the same root domain. Okay. But we want to choose a different sending domain. And this is because all of our emails within our agency, all of the sub accounts and everything, until they're connected to their own email sending domain, they're coming out as this. So when someone requests a password reset from our agency, all of those things are coming from this subdomain. But when we are sending our marketing emails and, any other emails that we want to send from our sub account, we want to protect that too. So now we're giving ourselves an additional email sending domain in our sub account that's different from our agency account, but still connected to the same domain. So our brand is congruent. Okay. So definitely let me know in the chat too if you guys are following along, because I want to kind of harp on this a little bit just because I know it's so confusing. And this is the biggest reason why people show up in the spam folder when they're trying to send their emails, and lots of things happen. Now, here's the confusing part too, because even if, usually agency owners, they get their own accounts set up, but the confusing part for them is, well, how about a client though? Like, I understand that I need my own email domain and address and all of that, but what about my client? Or what if I have a new business that I want to promote, but it's completely different? It's not the same brand, not the same email address, nothing is the same, right? Now, if we're going through the scenario that we're talking about today, this is the scenario we're talking about, right? So we have our agency, but we're using this restaurant ordering system as kind of like a lead magnet or additional business. And obviously, it's different names. I mean, you could structure this in a million and one different ways, but in this way that we're talking about, it's a completely new business. Okay, so I want to set up a brand new sub account. I'm going to walk you through all of this today, a brand new sub account, and it's going to have a brand new domain. Okay, so in this scenario, it'd just be newbusiness.com. Okay, so as you can see here, and the same as this sub account, I'm still going to have my own domain here. I'm going to have members.newbusiness.com is going to be my membership area. If I create a sales funnel for this business, it's going to be like leads.newbusiness.com. I'm going to create a new email address for this. So it's going to be like info@newbusiness.com. And then, of course, I'm going to create my own email sending domain connected to this domain within this account. Okay. So obviously, I need to create a user for this account who's going to be logging in with this email address. So every user in this business here that I create needs to have a user profile. So we need to add team members or employees, and they all need to have their own email address connected to this business. Okay. Now, this is super easy and pretty inexpensive to do on Google Workspace. If you have a team, Google Workspace is a great solution for that. So that's why pairing, Cloudflare with purchasing your domains and pairing it with Google Workspace is just really the best setup. I think most people will agree with that. Okay. I do see that Mark said, can you repeat what you just said? Mark, definitely. Ray is so right. Just go back and watch the replay. You can watch it on slow mo if you need to. But all of this is going to be in that blog article that you can reference and go back to and watch as many times as you want to. Okay. So now we're inside of HighLevel, okay, and we're going to create our domain, or we're going to create our account. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to create sub account, and if I already had a snapshot that I wanted to get set up into this account, I could choose one of these. I could choose one of the ones I already have, but in this case, I just want to say, like, I'm starting from scratch, like I have no assets or anything. I'm just going to create a blank account. Okay. So now it wants to know my location. It's kind of irrelevant here. If I had like a Google My Business listing that I was creating this account for, I could just type that in, but I actually don't. So I'm going to create, for example, I'll just show you here. So if I looked up My Vision Agency, you could see here is my business. It would take you to that and it would say, is this the business? Okay. But it's actually not. So I want to go to add my account manually. And I'm just going to add a name here. Obviously, it would be like your name because you're the account owner. I'm going to say Bridget Bartlett. It doesn't really matter what email address you put in here, but if you already had one created on the domain that you're going to use, obviously that would be cool. But I'm just going to say info@training.com because really technically, if I'm following along with you guys and we're doing this together, I would not at this point have this email created, right? So I'm going to give my business a name and I'm going to say um, restaurant ordering system, and I don't have an address yet. If you guys do need a virtual address, meaning a virtual mailbox is different from a PO box, but you can go to Anytime Mailboxes is what I use. It's really a great solution. It's like $10 a month, and all of your mail gets sent there. So it's a way of um, not having a your home address everywhere, but also it's kind of like a filter for your mail. So anyway, you could check that for your business. I'm just typing in. Doesn't really matter what I put in here. Obviously, if you are creating this for a real business, you definitely want to put all of the relevant information in here. So I'm not going to put a website. I am going to choose this just so that I can move on from this. Let's type in. Um, Let's find here we go. There's Indiana and save. Okay. So I just put in a bunch of, preliminary information to create the account. And now I just want to go into my account now. Okay. So I don't really need to do anything to this. I'm just going to switch into the account and I want to start getting it set up. Okay. So now I've created my completely blank account and I need to create a domain now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Cloudflare. If you've never used Cloudflare, it's totally free. Just register and create a free account. The only thing that you're going to pay for is the domain. So let's say that I wanted to purchase menus.com for my whole business. I would just type it in there and then you can see it'll tell you if it's available or not available. If you want to transfer domains, I would highly recommend transferring all domains to Cloudflare just because it's so much better for a million and one reasons. But um, if you just wanted to transfer one or whatever, you could do that here. Okay. So you want to basically choose your domain. You can, of course, search through many. What I like to do is use the .com. I feel like no matter what the end of the domain is, I will always go to .com first if I'm just trying to remember, like as a customer, and that's important to think about. I would say stay away from the hyphens as well. I see a lot of people doing that. But again, it's like when I'm saying, yeah, go to menus.com, that sounds normal and organic. But if I was to say, yeah, go to menus hyphen easy-order.com. So you guys can see it's just kind of weird. Okay. So just to make it easy, make it as short as possible. Try to not use hyphens, try to use .com. And try to get as close to your business name as possible. All right. So I'm just going to say menus there. Now, once you have purchased your domain, so I'm just going to go to one that I've already purchased here. And I deleted everything in here so that I could really just show you from scratch. So I'm going to go now to manage my domain. Oops. Let's go to the domain that I actually have here. Go to manage. And now I'm going to update the DNS configuration. Okay, so I've done nothing here. And what I except purchase my domain. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to actually create now an email address with this domain that I've just purchased. Now, like I said, I could go to email here and I could create a email address and then redirect it somewhere, but it doesn't work well with HighLevel. So save yourself the time. I've already tested all of this. So what you want to do is you want to go into your Google Workspace account, and you can do that by clicking the little icon here. If you don't have a Google Workspace account, you'll need to purchase one. It's like $12 a month. You'll want to go to Admin Console here, and you're going to want to go to Add a Domain. All right. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to type in this domain that I've just purchased for my business that I want to create an email address from. And I'm going to go back now to Google Domains, and I'm just going to I'm going to choose secondary domain and add domain and start verification. Okay, so it's already been used as an alias domain. So let's go. Let me see here. Let me go back to my home. It says I did set this one up on another account. So I just want to make sure here. We'll just troubleshoot. Like I said, I'm doing this live with you guys. So it is a little bit different because I purchased one and now I'm trying to delete it. So let's go to email. Okay. All right. So I'm not going to waste all of your time with all of this, okay? But what you want to do is you want to go to add domain. It's going to have you add a record, Okay. So actually, let's go to manage. I'm sorry. Let me pull this over to the side because I really want to show you where this is, but I get a little bit nervous when I'm live clicking around. Update, create an alias. Hang on just a second here. And okay, so here are all of my alias email addresses. Okay, so let's see. I do not have one, but I think it's just picking it up because I've already created one. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to go and verify our domain. I'm sorry that I can't show you that because I've already done that. So we're going to verify it, and then it's going to say add it to Google. Okay, or what we want to do, I'm so sorry. Follow this. We're going to buy a domain on Cloudflare. We are going to verify our domain. I'm going to show you how to add that DMARC record in just a second. So we want to go to add a domain. We want to type in the domain that we want to add. Okay. I'll give it just a second. Sorry, this is never flawless when I'm live. You guys know how it is. Okay. So I would just type this in. Now, obviously it's saying that I already have that. Okay. So I'm going to say add and start a domain. So it's not going to let me, but it would walk me through the process. And this is why I love Cloudflare because it would let me like connect automatically to Cloudflare and then would add all those records for me. And then it would take like a few minutes and then it would say it's verified. Once your domain is verified here, it's going to say activate Gmail. Okay. So what you're going to do is you're going to click on to activate the Gmail and you're going to go into your Gmail account that's in your Google Workspace and you're going to click on add another email address. Okay. So, dang it. So sorry. Before you do that, you need to create your email address. So we're verifying, we're doing activate, we're going down here, we're going to create an alias. I'm going to type this in here. You're going to choose the user you want to create an alias of, and you're going to go here and you're going to type in whatever you want the prefix of the email to be, and then you're going to choose that domain. So it was mybizlink.us, but I couldn't connect it here. So that's what I would do to create my email address. Now, what this is doing is we're creating this email address that is within our Google Workspace. Okay. So technically, inside Google Workspace, we can receive emails from all of these email addresses. You can create up to 30 within your Google Workspace account. Once you've created that email address, you're going to click here. You're going to go to add that email address to your Google account. You're just going to type in the email address you just created. Next step, it's going to log in there. You want to make sure that it says reply from the same address and the message was sent to. That way, if you have lots of businesses inside your account, if someone sends you an email to like support at myvisionagency.com, you're not sending it from the other business. Okay. So you want to have that set. You also want to go to your general settings and scroll down here and you want to make sure to set your signature so that you are having the appropriate signature sent out on all of your emails as well. So you can choose the custom signature down here, and then you want to choose the signature default for each of your email addresses. Okay, so you can see here I have order easy menus. There's my signature there. I'm saying that every time I get an email from this, I want my signature to be that. Okay, so I am using it for new emails and replying and forwarding emails there. Okay. So whatever I get sent from, that's what it's going to send to. So all of this is set up at this point. Okay. So let's go back now. And I said that I would show you how to add a DMARC in Cloudflare. Okay. So technically, if we're following along, we've bought our domain, we've verified the domain in Google Workspace, we've activated the Gmail in Google Workspace, we've created an alias email, and we've connected to the Gmail account, created a signature for our new email inside of Gmail. And now we need to create an email sending domain, but I want to add that DMARC record first. So I'm going to go back now to Cloudflare and I'm going to go to email and I'm going to just click here to add DMARC record and we're going to go fix record. Okay. So it's going to give me that record. I'm going to paste that in there and it's all good. Okay. Now, I don't have an email address connected to that, but if you had followed the process that I was showing you, you can see now the record's added. Okay. So if I go back here, we have our DMARC record there. That is important when it comes to your email delivery. However, again, you can see how easy Cloudflare makes that. It's kind of a no-brainer to really use Cloudflare. Okay, so the next step here is we need to go into our account and we need to create our email sending domain. Okay, so I'm going to go now to settings and I'm going to go to email services, and it's going to ask us right here, do we want to create a dedicated email sending domain? So remember from our diagram, or that image that I showed you, this needs to be a subdomain based off of our email address that we are going to be sending and receiving from that's attached to our profile. Okay. So technically, like this business profile here, that's for the business. But what I need is a section in my staff here that has a user with this email address. Okay. So I would need to add Bridget Bartlett. I can add my image here, and I want to add info at mybizlink.us because that's going to be the email sending domain. Now I can set my signature here. I can set user permissions. I can set user roles. Of course, I'm the admin of all of this. I can choose my number and all of those things. Okay. So you definitely want to make sure that within that account, you have a user. Now, if you are flipping back and forth from like your agency to like the sub business that you've created, or if it's a client's business, you can click up here and just choose login as, and then you can log in as this user of this account. And that way you can see everything that they see, but also you will be able to send communications and things as that account user. Okay. Otherwise, it's going to send from your agency email address, and then it's going to end up in spam because it's not coming from the email address is not coming from the same email sending domain. Okay. So it's really important. So let's go to email services now, and we're going to do create the dedicated domain. And I typically on sub accounts will just choose email dot, and then I will paste in the domain. Okay. So I'm going to click add and verify. You'll see this is so easy, right? So this is all, if you're using Cloudflare, this is all that you do. It will work like this for GoDaddy as well, but you can see that we're just authorizing the records. It's going to Cloudflare. This is how it connects to Google Workspace and your domains and all of that. So now all the records have been added. I'm just going to click verify domain until all of these turn green, and then my email sending domain will be active. Okay, so it does take a while because we just did add records and it needs to propagate and recognize that everything is there, but it usually is pretty fast. If you're kind of like obsessed like I am, you might want to hit refresh a few times to get it to verify, just because I get impatient. So you can see how fast that happens there. So of course I would just want to do it again until that says it's green and it says SSL issued, and we're all good. Now, once this is connected, you can actually go to domain configuration. If you have multiple email sending domains, like maybe you want one for your workflow, one for your one-on-one conversations, it's not going to give us the option to change it because we only have one. But if we had multiple, we could designate, which one do we want to be for our workflow and our one-on-one conversations and so on. Okay. So you do have that ability. It's not required. You can always just use the one. But if you have a use case where you do need that, then it's important to know that you can do that. Okay. So that is our email sending domain. Okay. So it is 2:29. I don't want to overwhelm all of you guys because we are here at this step where we're going to create our form and our funnel, and we're going to connect the domain and all of that. Even though we have not actually added our website or any of that, I did put in the description I was going to show you how to connect the domain, and that's not a problem. We can actually do that. So I want to make sure that I do that before we go. So let's go back to settings here. Let's go to domains, and you're just really going to see how easy this is. Okay. So let's say that I want to add my main root domain, because obviously this is my account. I need to attach a website to sell this business, right? So I'm going to just type in my domain, and it's also going to add the www version. And that's important because the way that things get routed around the internet, you always want to have your non-www and your www pointing to the same place. So I'm just going to, it automatically toggles that on. I'm just going to say, yeah, go ahead and do that. And then same thing with the email sending domain. It's just going to connect to Cloudflare for me. And then I don't need to worry about adding the records or anything. It's just going to automatically go to Cloudflare, and I'm going to click authorize, and you can see it adds the records, and now it's going to find it for me, and it's going to show a window here, and it's going to say, basically like, hey, we found the website. What website do you want to connect this to? Okay. Now I have not created the website yet, right? I don't even have anything to connect it to. This is just a blank website. So I'm not going to connect it, but you can see this is how easy it is to connect, right? This is going to pop up and just like that. And it's going to say, what website do you want to connect it to? And then what website do you want to be the or what page do you want to be the 404 page? Okay. Super, super simple. So now when I build my website, all I need to do is come back here and then go to edit. And then I'm going to choose the website that I want to connect it to. Okay, so that's where we are. Let's go ahead and check these off because that's important to know when we come back tomorrow where we're going to start, right? So we've already connected the domain now. So tomorrow we're going to go through creating the form, the funnel. We're going to create our pipeline, the automations, and if we have time, we're going to go through the process of creating an email template because we want to make sure that we're representing our brand. We're going to go through the process of creating a phone number and all of those things that you can see here in this list. Okay. So thank you all so, so much for joining me. I will see you tomorrow. Same time, same place. Go make your vision a reality. Bye. Thank you so much for joining us for today's training. If you have any questions, you can join us for open office hours starting right now at bridgetbartlett.com. It's free and open to everyone, so I'll see you there.